we weren't good enough. I was not good enough. I got to do a better job. It's plain and simple. I didn't play very good tonight. I know that. I understand that. This team can't afford to have me play poorly. Early on, just not being as accurate with the ball as I should have been, making the right reads, making the right throws. And we turned it on a little too late there, obviously. But yeah, 16 and 17 points is not going to cut it in this league.
What's up, Bills Mafia? Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Due to the Tuesday night game versus Tennessee, I've yet to make a video after a Buffalo loss, and now I've got to come in after 2 consecutive L's. So it's going to be quite a shift from my last video, but overall, I think the commentary on this team is a bit overly negative. Bills Mafia is panicking a bit, and while I do understand why, I don't know that it's exactly warranted. Yes, we've lost consecutive games, and I'm not going to make too many excuses. Honestly, you can't when the coaching staff preaches preparation, discipline, and adaptability like McDermott does. He made me believe he had us prepared for things like 2 straight rescheduled games, things like a cold and rainy forecast. And their performance over the first month of the season told me this team could hang with the best in the AFC. Our offense was unstoppable, and the passing game seemed almost infinitely adaptable. There were multiple playmakers at receiver who excelled at getting separation from defenders, and a true number 1 option that Josh could rely on. Okay, that last part's still true at least, but this doesn't even cover the defensive side of the ball. We were a top 3 defense last year. Now it's 27th in yards allowed. I did an entire video a few weeks back about the run defense being in shambles. But since then, we held Josh Jacobs to 48 yards and Derrick Henry to 57. It seemed like it was fixed. But a rookie just ripped off 161 yards. And at first, I didn't know how to explain it. It's hard to justify a defensive scheme that allows the opponent to just run at will. But that's what ours did. And honestly, considering how poorly the offense performed and how close the game was, I get it. McDermott begged Andy Reid to run the ball on us. Clyde was going to go over 100 yards on the day. All this rushing success kept Mahomes from lighting up the scoreboard, and it shortened the game considerably. It kept the score close late. Had the offense been productive, we would have easily kept pace or gotten ahead with them running so much. So if that's true, maybe they do take the leash off Mahomes, but we'll never know now. Even with the plan being to allow the run to succeed, it got out of hand once again. Entire drives were spent just handing it off for Kansas City. Third downs were made absurdly easy for the Chiefs when they were even needed. And I know a lot of fans are looking at Tremaine Edmunds as the reason why, but he's far from alone. The D-line is getting manhandled, and he's constantly dealing with offensive linemen who get to free release into the second level. Let's look at some back-to-back big run plays by the Chiefs. First, you can see the tackles completely blown off the ball here. Each is double-teamed, so it's not really a big deal that they don't make the play, but they're pushed 3 yards downfield almost immediately. Neither's able to hold their ground even a little bit, and it's easy to say from my comfy chair, but that's their job. I don't envy them, it's not easy, but it's what they're paid to do, and both Vernon Butler and Justin Zimmer fail spectacularly at it here. Darryl Johnson comes free off the edge, and instead of pursuing to the ball carrier, he just kind of moves laterally a few steps and falls down. And since his tackles were pushed into his lap, Edmunds can't see the handoff. He decides to start pursuing Mahomes and takes himself completely out of the play when it comes back to his side of the field. It's a sloppy play on defense, and it all starts up front. On the next play, we can see the starters are back in, and Ed Oliver manages to win at the point of contact, pushing his blocker into the backfield, but he can't shed the block fast enough to make the stop. Mario Addison sets the edge but is pushed back and out of the running lane, and Edmunds, who looks to be responsible for Mahomes here, is blocked by the center, who can free release off the line because his guards don't need any help. It's a well-executed play from the Chiefs, but after watching it a few times, I have to ask, isn't this what we drafted Ed Oliver to do? Make this play? He's got to be more disruptive than this, and he can't be neutralized by just one man. So how about the offense? Let's start with the good here. Stephon Diggs continues to be a difference maker for the Bills, and I'm really enjoying watching him work. It was a pretty solid day for Stephon despite our struggles in the passing game. To me, his best contribution wasn't even the score, it was his ability to draw flags on the opposing defense to extend drives in critical situations. Honestly, it's the only reason he even scored his touchdown to begin with this week. We see here it's 3rd and long, and the motion by Diggs reveals man coverage. Josh decides to spread his receivers out wide. With a single high safety, Charvarius Ward is not getting any help to cover Diggs, and Josh attacks it. The coverage is tight, and in the hand fighting, Diggs has his arm held. May not seem like much, but it's definitely pass interference. There's no way he can extend to make a play for the ball because of it. It's also the kind of thing that can be missed by the refs, as we all know, but Stefan refuses to let it go unnoticed. He throws up his other hand and pushes his arm that was held back into the defender. Ward isn't still holding him up here. Diggs can freely pull his arm forward now, and he just doesn't. He makes sure that the flag is thrown. Maybe he does make a ridiculous catch on what was honestly a pretty great ball from Josh, but this guarantees it's 1st and goal. A heads-up play by a vet. Now for the bad side of the offense. There's no denying Josh's accuracy was off early in this game. It was pretty apparent to see. In his defense, Mahomes also had a couple get away from him. The weather clearly played a part, but it's not really an excuse. It shouldn't affect Josh like this. Isn't that why we always wanted the big-handed, big-bodied QB with the rocket arm? This weather's nothing compared to the snowstorms Josh will inevitably have to play in. It cannot cause such a massive impact on his ability to deliver an accurate football. But there's more than meets the eye. Our passing attack was so dynamic because it was impossible to isolate and eliminate our receiving threats. Between the 3 of them, Diggs, Brown, and Beasley had way too much talent to keep everyone covered. And the injury to Brown has taken that away from us a bit. He wasn't out there at all versus Tennessee, and Gabriel Davis looks good for a rookie, but he doesn't get the kind of separation that Brown does. He's just not a sharp enough route runner yet. Well, Brown was back this week, but his separation sure wasn't. The league average for receiver separation is 0.28 yards. On Monday, Brown had just 1.13. To compare, Diggs had 3.74 and Beasley 3.1. Even Tyler Kroft was over 3 at 3.5. Here's a prime example of why separation matters so much and how Brown isn't able to get it with his knee less than 100%. It's 1st down early in the game, and we want to go for the big play. It's a great time for it and a perfect throw from Josh. So they run the flea flicker, and Brown is selling the run by slowing down his route a bit. He can't just turn on the burners or he'll run out of the field fast. So he's battling with the defender and tries to box him out with his body, leaving a window for the ball to come down in the back of the end zone. His timing's just a bit off here. When he tries to separate from the receiver at the last second, he goes just a bit early, and the defender's able to climb his way back into the play and get a hand on the ball. Is this because of his knee? I can't say for sure, but his name's on the injury report, and his play has dropped off, so it's a fair question at least. Another costly error from Brown happened early in the game. It's 3rd and 10 on the first drive. Josh just had 2 misses, but he delivers a strike on this play, and Brown can't come down with it. It just bounces off his face mask. The rest of the play here is great, including a really nice job by Singletary picking up the blitzer. But Brown seems to hesitate, making a play on the ball just a bit. He has to try to go to the ground to make the catch, and the timing's off. Since he gets up limping a bit, I have to think he couldn't cut as hard as he wanted to on his knee. He should have been able to keep his feet and possibly turn upfield for a bigger gain if he was healthy. All things considered, Mafia, I want to urge patience. We had a lot of fun in September. Our hopes shot through the roof, and they've crashed back down a bit. But it's never been important to be playing your best in October. We have a well-coached team with a ton of talent. Let's trust them to continue to learn and improve over the course of the season. Honestly, this team could really use a bye week right about now to get healthy and regroup a bit, but that's still a ways off for the time being. Thankfully, we've got the next best thing coming up, a game versus the Adam Gase coached Jets, possibly even with Joe Flacco at quarterback. That should do wonders for our confidence. Let's push the pause button on all the craziness for now. If we find a way to lose this one, then all bets are off. But remember, we're still 2 games up on the rest of the division, and a lot of the opponents we have left don't scare me near as much as they did before the season started. I still believe we are a double-digit win team that's going to host a playoff game this year. As long as we're playing our best at the end of the season, we can still be the Cinderella story of 2020. That does it for this week. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please hit the like button and leave a comment about who you think the weakest link is in our front 7 on defense. If you want to see more of my videos, be sure to subscribe, and you can ring the bell to be notified when my videos go live. We'll see you next week, Bills Mafia.